Um, I'm Lindsay. I am Lauren's daughter, and we're going to be doing a little bit of an interview today. So, Lauren, if you would like to kick it off and um, start telling us a little bit about your career journey and the choices that led you up to where you are today.
My career, my life um, started. I had a very hard. I grew up in a very dysfunctional family at age 12. I have worked since I was 12. I knew I needed money to escape the very dysfunctional family. Anyhow, and I have wanted, I have wanted to ever since I was a little boy. All I ever wanted to do was farm. That's it had maybe it was had something to do with my grandfather because he worked for American Siam back when the agricultural chemicals were first being developed back in the 50s, and he had taken me around to visit different big sugar beet farms and stuff, large farms out in the West. And so it interests me. It's interests me, and that's all I ever wanted to do. But then my life took um it took me on a different path because I spent almost 35 years of my life working in the newspaper printing business. Um, I started it when I was 12. I had a couple newspaper routes, and then it came into um, became there was a guy that I was working with, and anyhow, at this printing place in Englewood, New Jersey, which was the first place to print the Rolling Stone magazine. So I was 13, 14 years old working in this place. The owners didn't pay too much attention to child labor laws um, at that time. And when I graduated high school, I was the night shift foreman in this place at the age of 18. Well, this was a non-union shop, and Local 8, the that was then uh, Printing Pressmen's Union of North America, tried to organize the place, and um, I was presented one day with I had to make a choice because I didn't have a car yet. I would take buses out to the plant, and I usually got a ride home from somebody would drive me home in the middle of the night. But I was presented with a choice as I walked into the industrial park. The president of the union met me, and oh, stereotypical union boss driving a big red flashy red Cadillac convertible with a white fold down top. Yeah. So anyhow, I was presented with the choice that day to go in and work in this non-union shop, or uh, go and join the union, become, and I made a decision just like that, and it turned out to be the good one because I was 18. Yeah, I spent until what was it, 19? Yeah, I worked in that um, in the newspaper printing till was 1998, and those last, well, you can remember growing up, those last 13 years, I commuted to New Jersey every week, drove 378 miles one way back. And I had back when I had one of those original bag phones. You remember that when the cell phones first
Yes.
came out? So if you had the powerful one, you had the one with the bag. That was so cool anyhow. Yeah. But, the newspaper got bought out by Gannett in was in July of 1998. They presented me with I had to make a decision again. Um, they said, "Well, you've done a great job, but if you're going to keep it, you're going to have to live 15 minutes away from the plant and be available 24/7." Well, um, I was no, I didn't even have to think about it. I rejected their offer, came home and told your mother, who she was like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do now?" So, like I said, I wanted to farm since I was a little boy. So we went and, at that point, I'd become good friends with Vernon Gray. And so we went and borrowed the unbelievable amount of $40,000, of which then we built the milk house and we scavenged up, used, a bulk tank and stuff, and started shipping milk in January 16th of 1999 was the first milk. And Sammy, be quiet. Was the first milk that we shipped here. Um, when I did all the budgeting and all the economics of this, no matter which way you tried to budget it, the budget says you shouldn't do it. I threw caution to the wind and went forward with it. Um, I I could have made other choices that would have been easier, certainly more financially rewarding. But I had the opportunity to raise my three children in an environment that very few people will get to grow up in today. You guys, come on, Andy. I don't need this. Um, yeah, it is certainly has not been easy. It's been extremely difficult. There was culture shock, especially with your mother. I wasn't driving to New Jersey to make minimum wage. We were making good we were making good living.
Mhm.
But as it turned out, the newspaper industry has become extinct with the advent of the cell phones. People of your generation, people don't read newspapers anymore. It's just also old cobs. We like to read the newspaper, but so yeah, so never I've never regretted making these choices. Like I said, I'm so glad that I did have the opportunity to raise you guys in this environment. I know there were times when it was hard. I didn't make life easy for people. I know that, but seems to have worked out. Guys are all firing on all cylinders.
Yes.
You know, um, yeah, and then I never expect, Andy, and you are never expected that any of the three of you to get involved in this. So, um, when Michael decided to come into the business with us and form an LLC, well, and there went uh, easy retirement went out the window. um, yeah, that's how I got to where I am today. Um, I it's so ironic. I had when I bought this, I came up here and it was 19 yeah January of 1997, And I came up to the North Country. Eric was with me, and we were going to go. I had some piece farms that I was going to look at. I had $20,000 cash in my pocket. That's the money that I have earned since I started working. I had that. So I saw this place, 165 acres. At the time, it felt to me it was as big as the state of Texas. I had not a clue what I was going to do with this, but I bought it and never looked back. You know, we did a whole bunch of things. I mean, we for a while there we were in a vegetable growers co-op, and we grew vegetables for a while. We had sheep. We did sheep for a while. That was fun. They were fun. Um, but then the, the opportunities for me to work back in New Jersey again, but still live here, that came up. So then um, I got offered the foreman's job back at the Daily Record in Parsippany, and I commuted 13 years. I drove back and forth from there, ran the department. So it was, but that came to an end when Gannett bought it. So uh, now we've got situation with your brother has huge plans, and yeah, like I said, I'm not retiring.
Well, how do you feel that so this was a boyhood dream that then you had the opportunity later in life to make a reality and you went for it and now you're getting to see all your children involved in different ways with my brother Michael, your son, taking it over. So now this farm that was built from scratch is now a second generation family run business. Did you ever envision that when you were going to start? And are you surprised that one of your children are interested in taking what you had built from scratch and now is building upon the foundation that you had laid and is expanding and building to meet kind of the growing demands of what the time and society wants at this time for a farm?
Oh yeah, I never expected it. I never really thought about it because I never put that pressure on any abuse to yeah, I need you to no, I didn't do that. Um, could I have seen that we've got? I never uh, could have seen that we've got 300 hogs that we're pasturing up in the woods, that I'm cropping ground up next to where your lifelong friends grew up, that I'm growing corn and soybeans in the field behind the house where they grew up on the rest. I could have never seen that. But yeah, yeah, no regrets. I have no regrets.
And um, with mom and yourself not being, I guess, native upstate New Yorkers, um, but now Michael is building his family. He is really rooted and committed to the area. Um, do you feel now that you have more of a connection? Um, are you seeing a difference in how you started the farm versus how he is starting it just because um, he was raised in the area and has those connections with the community?
Oh, of course. I mean, he knows people all over the place. I I I only know a small number of people. But a lot of that's by choice. It's just because I don't like to be surrounded by a lot of people. I like to do my own thing. Just you leave me alone. I'm right. Just and I'm here. I'm doing my own thing. That's how I've been my whole life. I've been like that. There are people that go around and they say, "You quiet it down." There are people that they count their friends in hundreds. No, no, I don't. I've never had that. I've never had that desire, that need. I don't need that. I just I have my family.
And do you think
A
that
few
was
other
some of the
people that,
appeal of farming?
oh yes, yes, because especially because when I started, I didn't have all of the support that Michael has. This whole, I mean, he knows all kinds of people because he grew up here. He grew up with them. He went to school
Mhm.
with them. It's completely different. I'm an immigrant here.
Mhm.
I'll be an immigrant here till the day I die. It's not as bad now as when I first came to the North Country. When I first came here, even in it was 1977. Um, this was like a backwater. Um, you had small farms. This whole North Country was just loaded with small farms. You had the aluminum plants, but it was rural. You didn't have high speed. You didn't have high speed internet. You didn't have cell service. We had what was the store that we had? We had an Ames. That was it. You didn't have a Walmart. You know,
Mhm.
you you didn't have a Tractor Supply. You had farm stores in some towns that you went to, but this was a this was a very, it's almost a forgotten part of New York State.
And
That's what I like. That's what drew me up here.
and do you feel like it still has those elements, or are you seeing a change now?
There's been a change. There are there's more well there's more stuff has come in. There's more there are more stores, but that's really doesn't mean much today in the era of the internet where you can get anything you want. Um, there's certainly in this area because of the Messina Electric, because of the cheap power, there is more people that live around here. I mean, when I came here, that Maple Ridge Road, that was a one-lane wooden bridge over that creek.
It's amazing how much the area has just kind of grown and changed, and really not
Yeah.
that much, not a long time, actually.
No, not a long time. There are more people, but the Messina Electric has attracted people because of the electric, the power being cheaper. I guess it's cheap enough so that if you have, it can make the savings on the power versus if you got to go to national grid, the savings on the power will almost make your mortgage payment.
Wow.
Not on a big giant house, big monstrous house, but on a small normal size house. Yeah, yeah. Population wise, it's about the same.
Okay.
But when I came here, it was there were small farms everywhere. Andy.
And and Do you think the direction and the growth of the farm that Michael is kind of transitioning on what you started is kind of to meet that void of all the little farms going away, but only a few small farms remaining? Do you see this um, as the way forward?
The only way a small farm is going to survive, because your two choices with with well, especially with the dairy, you you have to be willing to milk endless numbers of cows, thousands and thousands of cows. Um, no, it used to be that 1,000 cows was enough. No, they're looking at they're looking at 10,000 cows, 30,000 cows. So because would you stop it? Because they're 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 calculating out the cost of production, and if you shave a quarter penny off of here and you're dealing with such large number of units, it's no, that's not farming. The the for a small farm to survive now, you have to diversify, like we've done with the we have, say, in round numbers, we've got 75 milk cows, but he could get the production back on track. Now that will be generating a substantial amount of the revenue that's needed to service the debt. And then the grain business, which, yes, it's a commodity business, but if grain prices are high 1 year or 2 years, you can make a substantial profit that will tide you over when the commodity prices drop down low. But then we've gotten into we're utilizing the crop insurance that's available. So we know, like right now, we already know going in that we have a guaranteed price of I think it's $4.74 a bushel for our corn, which is not great, but we know that we can produce that for that for that amount of money. So then we have the milk, we have the dairy, we have the grain business, and then he started the meat this freezer meat business, which originally started with selling a half a cow, and now we've got a 1996 Freightliner refrigerated truck. So now we're delivering. We're they got it set up. We're delivering to customers. He's delivering them to houses, and then utilizing that truck to deliver the the meat, because we're in 16 schools in the BOCES system in St. Lawrence County, and I believe that number is going to expand. So the path it's on, this business can be built now that I could see he's building something that his children could carry on, because they're what from what I understand, they're not planning. Michael and Marissa are going to have more than 3 kids. There is, I can see there's foundations for this business that's being built, that he has this is something that he could retire from and have something, depending on, who can see 40 years down the road. But it this could turn into a third generation operation.